Some call him the greatest goal scorer of all time. Some call him the greatest Portuguese who ever lived, while others call him the biggest sports brand on the planet. But us? We just call him the GOAT. His name is Cristiano Ronaldo, and he is arguably the greatest player ever to kick a ball. You look at him and see this larger-than-life figure, the face of football. But the story of how he got to this point will motivate you, shake you to your core, and maybe even bring tears to your eyes. This is the story of CR7's legacy. Let's start from the very beginning. Ronaldo was born on the island of Madeira in Portugal into a very poor family. They were so poor that he was very nearly aborted, but we'll get to that soon. Ronaldo's dad was a gardener and a part-time kit man for a local club, while his mother was a cook and a cleaner. His paternal great-grandmother was from Cabo Verde, and she only moved to Portugal as a teenager. So you could say that Ronaldo has some African blood in him. He also has 3 older siblings with whom he shared a room growing up. But like I said, Cristiano was nearly never even born. So, when Ronaldo's mom was pregnant with him, she seriously considered taking him out because they were poor and could hardly afford to take care of the 3 kids they already had. On top of that, her husband was an alcoholic, and she felt that the burden of raising another child would be too much on her. So she decided to terminate the pregnancy. She had already made up her mind and had even gone to the doctor for the procedure, but the doctor said he was not gonna do it and insisted that she keep the baby. Well, we all have that doctor to thank, because just imagine if Cristiano Ronaldo was never born. Anyway, his upbringing was really tough. They were so poor it was hard to make ends meet. But right from when he was a kid, Cristiano started to show some real passion for football. It was all he knew. So, at the age of 7, he joined Andorinha, the club where his father was working as a kit man. He was there for 5 years and then moved to Nacional, a bigger club in Portugal where he spent 2 years. Then, in 1997, at the age of 12, Cristiano went for trials at Sporting CP, one of the biggest clubs in the country. After the 3-day trial, everyone was so impressed with the kid that they ended up signing him for £1,500. You would think that it was happily ever after from here, but it wasn't. Far from it, in fact. Not long after this big move, Ronaldo's career was nearly destroyed. In fact, he was very close to losing his life. We'll get to that soon enough, but at the beginning it was all so great. After he signed with Sporting, Ronaldo left his hometown of Madeira and moved to Lisbon. He started playing football with Sporting's youth team and attending school there, but it soon became more and more difficult for Ronaldo to juggle both. He was a brilliant kid, but he was something of a rebel. One time, he threw a chair at a teacher because, according to him, the teacher had disrespected him. Ronaldo was expelled from the school because of that. At 14, he decided to abandon school altogether and focus on football. It was tough for his mother to agree to, but she eventually came around and trusted her son's abilities. Just when Ronaldo was ready to take on the world one strike of the ball at a time, he was hit with the biggest obstacle not long into his semi-professional career. As a teenager, Ronaldo was diagnosed with a heart condition called tachycardia. It is a condition when the heart rate is found to be faster than the average resting rate, and it can lead to thrombosis, heart failure, or even stroke. So it felt like Cristiano would immediately have to abandon football in order not to cause further complications for himself. But if you think Ronaldo would give up just like that, then you don't know who he is at all. He never gave up on football, not even for a second. Just days after the doctors had finished operating on his heart, he was already back on the training pitch. That was how much he loved football and how determined he was to make it as a pro. And it would soon begin to pay off. After years of hard work, Cristiano Ronaldo finally broke into Sporting CP's first team at the age of 16. The coach of the first team at the time, Laszlo Bologna, was so impressed with Ronaldo's dribbling that he decided to give him a shot. He made his official debut from off the bench in the 58th minute of a Champions League qualifying game against Inter Milan on the 14th of August 2002. He was just 17 at the time, and I'm sure those watching him that day had no idea that that scrawny little kid would go on to conquer the world. With that appearance, Ronaldo became the first player in the club's history to play for the under-16s, under-17s, under-18s, the B team, and the senior team all in the same season. That was just the first of many records he would go on to break. You might actually be bamboozled by how many you'll hear in this video. Anyway, Ronaldo made his Primera Liga debut on the 29th of September 2002, and the following month, his first senior team goal came, and it came in twos. He had such a dazzling debut season that the biggest clubs in the world were already desiring him. His representatives suggested he go to Liverpool and Barcelona, while Arsène Wenger wanted to bring him over to Arsenal. The French coach even brought Ronaldo over to the Arsenal Stadium in London to convince him to move to England, but that didn't work. Other clubs were also interested in the wunderkind, like Auxerre and Lyon in France. However, the club that came closest to signing Ronaldo in 2002 was Juventus. They were ready to pay 2.5 million euros and also offered one of their players, Marcelo Salas, in exchange for Ronaldo. But Salas refused to make the move to Sporting, which caused the entire deal to collapse. His destiny would eventually lead him back to Turin, but he had to go on one hell of a journey first. Despite interest from clubs all around Europe, Ronaldo looked destined to remain at Sporting for at least another year. In August 2003, the club was opening its new stadium and organized a game to commemorate it. Guess who that game was played against? Manchester United. Sporting beat United 3-1 in that game, and Ronaldo was totally unplayable. After that game, the Man United players went to Alex Ferguson and asked him to sign that kid. They just could not believe what they had just seen. But Ferguson did not even need convincing. In his words, Cristiano Ronaldo was one of the most exciting young players he had ever seen. So after that game, Ferguson agreed to pay 19 million euros for the kid, effectively making him the most expensive teenager in football history. It was essentially a one-game audition, and Ronaldo passed with flying colors. The inauguration game was on the 6th of August 2003, and Ronaldo's transfer was already done on the 12th of August 2003. It took them just 6 days. That was how convinced they were about this talented kid. With that signing, Cristiano Ronaldo became the first Portuguese player to ever sign for Manchester United, and he would end up being the greatest one. After completing his move to United at the age of 18, Ronaldo requested for the number 28 shirt that he had worn at Sporting, but the club denied his request. They believed in him and decided to give him the number 7 shirt instead. You see, Man United is one of the very few clubs where the number 7 shirt probably holds more weight than the number 10 shirt. It was a number worn by some of the club's greatest players, including David Beckham, George Best, and Eric Cantona. So handing that number to a teenager from Portugal was a huge deal. But that only served as extra motivation for Ronaldo. He wanted to succeed at Manchester United and make the number 7 his. From the very beginning, Manchester United fans took him as one of their own. When he came on for his debut against Bolton, he was given a standing ovation. And after dazzling that day, George Best said that was undoubtedly the most exciting debut he had ever seen. For Best to say that about him, you know it was one hell of a performance. Ronaldo really hit the ground running at United, but absolutely nothing prepared us for his first goal in a Man United shirt. It came from a long-range free kick against Portsmouth, and it was a truly incredible way to announce himself to the Premier League. He also assisted a goal in that game. He would end up scoring 6 goals and providing 8 assists in his debut season for Manchester United, and he was already showing that he was a big game player. That season, he scored against Spurs and Aston Villa and got the opener in the FA Cup final, which Man United went on to win. That was the first trophy of his career. The first of many, as it would appear. He finished his first season in England in brilliant fashion and was selected to represent the Portugal national team at the 2004 Euros on home soil. Although being one of the youngest at the tournament, Ronaldo helped his team reach the final with 2 goals and 2 assists, including a goal in the semis. He also stepped up and converted his spot kick in the penalty shootout against England in the quarterfinals. For all he did, he was named in the team of the tournament, and if you watched him, you would agree that he deserved that. It really hurt him to have lost that final, but it served as fuel for him going forward. He scored the 1,000th goal in Premier League history on the 20th of October 2004 and ended that season with 9 goals and 9 assists. But the following season, he got even better. He scored 12 goals, provided 8 assists in the 2005 to 2006 season, and won his second trophy. Once again, he proved that he was a big game player, scoring in the EFL Cup final. That was the second trophy he had won at the time, and he scored in both finals. He was exceptional. After another good season with United, he went to the 2006 World Cup with Portugal, and something crazy happened, which made him enemy number 1 in England. He scored in a group stage game and was able to help Portugal reach the knockout rounds, where they faced England in the quarterfinals. During that game, he was accused of causing his Man United teammate Wayne Rooney to get sent off. And after England ended up losing that game on penalties, Ronaldo received a lot of hate from English fans. It was so bad that Ronaldo publicly asked to leave the club that summer because of a lack of support, but the club refused to let him go. Because of that incident with Wayne Rooney at the World Cup, Ronaldo entered the 2006 to 2007 season as public enemy number 1. He was booed at almost every game, but the hate he was getting seemed to motivate him because this turned out to be his breakout season. Ronaldo finished with 23 goals and 14 assists in all competitions that season. That was the first time he scored over 20 goals in a single season, and he ended it with his first ever league title, Man United's first in 4 years. During this season, he was named Premier League Player of the Month in November and December, becoming only the 3rd player in the league's history to win the award in back-to-back months. This season also produced his first ever Champions League goals, and it felt like a floodgate was opened. He scored a brace in the quarterfinals against AS Roma and then scored in the semi-final against AC Milan. Unfortunately, they could not reach the final of the competition that season. After such a tremendous season, Cristiano Ronaldo won a truckload of awards. He cleared all PFA awards and was named PFA Players, Fans, and Young Player of the Season. He also won the FWA Footballer of the Year award to become the first player to win all 4 of those awards in the same year. But that wasn't all. He also finished 2nd behind Kaká at the 2000 Ballon d'Or and 3rd behind Kaká and Lionel Messi at the FIFA World Player of the Year. But this was just the beginning. The 2007 to 2008 season was even better. Ronaldo was determined to win everything he hadn't won the previous season. And spoiler alert, he did. In the 2007 to 2008 season, Ronaldo recorded his first ever Manchester United hat-trick and went on to finish the season with 31 league goals to secure the Premier League Golden Boot as well as the European Golden Shoe. With that, Ronaldo became the first winger ever to win the European Golden Shoe. His goals helped United successfully defend the Premier League title, and he was once again named PFA Players Player of the Year and FWA Footballer of the Year. In Europe, he was also really dominant. He scored 8 goals in the Champions League, including one in the final against Chelsea. Although he missed his penalty in the shootout, Man United won the Champions League, their first in 9 years. He was the top scorer in the Champions League that season and was named UEFA Club Footballer of the Year. In total, Cristiano Ronaldo scored 42 goals and provided 8 assists in all competitions. That was a combined total of 50 goal contributions in 49 appearances. These performances and accolades culminated in his first Ballon d'Or and FIFA World Player of the Year awards. He became the first Man United player to win the Ballon d'Or since George Best did in 1968, and the first Premier League player to ever be named FIFA World Player of the Year. At this point, Real Madrid had started snooping around. He was the best player in the world, and they wanted him so badly. But United were unwilling to let him go. At least not yet. They filed a complaint with FIFA, but the organization refused to take action. Ronaldo ended up remaining at Manchester United for another year, and it was another glorious season. He scored 26 goals and provided 12 assists in all competitions, helping the club win their 3rd successive Premier League title and reach the Champions League final for a 2nd consecutive year. However, this time around, United lost the final to Barcelona, with Ronaldo's arch-rival Lionel Messi scoring the clincher. This saw Ronaldo lose the Ballon d'Or and FIFA World Player of the Year awards to Lionel Messi, finishing as runner-up at both awards. But Ronaldo didn't go empty-handed that season. His super 40-yard strike against Porto in the quarterfinal of the Champions League won him the FIFA Puskás Award for the best goal of the year. Manchester United succeeded in keeping Ronaldo the previous year, but there just was no stopping him in 2009. Real Madrid came calling again, and this time he answered. The Spanish giants agreed to pay 94 million euros for him. making Cristiano Ronaldo the most expensive player in football history at the time. He was presented at the Bernabeu in front of 80,000 fans, breaking the previous record of 75,000 set by Diego Maradona at Napoli 25 years earlier. Such was the superstar power of Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo wished to continue with his now famous number 7 jersey, but since the club captain Raúl had that number, he had to wear the number 9 upon arrival at Real Madrid. It is important to note that Ronaldo did not take the easy route by joining Real Madrid. Back then, Los Blancos were not as dominant as they are now. When Ronaldo joined, Madrid had not won the Champions League in 7 years. They were fresh out of a season where rivals Barcelona were utterly dominant, winning the European treble and completing the sextuple. So it was a challenging task, but Ronaldo was up to it. He hit the ground running in Spain, becoming the first ever Real Madrid player to score in each of his first 4 La Liga games. He also scored 2 goals in his first Champions League game for the club, but his brilliant start was brought to an unfortunate halt due to an injury he sustained during the international break in October of that year. He was out for 7 weeks because of that injury, but when he returned, it was like he never left. He went on a scoring spree and finished as Real Madrid's top scorer that season, with 33 goals in 35 appearances. He helped Real Madrid finish with a club record number of points in La Liga that season, but unfortunately that wasn't enough to win them the league. Ronaldo did not win a trophy that season and got knocked out in the round of 16 of the World Cup that summer with just 1 goal scored. So for the first time since 2006, he did not make the top 3 of the Ballon d'Or. That was a new low for him. But if you know Ronaldo, you know that only motivated him to do better the following season. Do you know what helped him? His superpowers were restored. As I mentioned earlier, when Ronaldo arrived at Real Madrid, he was given the number 9 shirt because Raúl was still at the club. But in 2010, the Spaniard left, so Ronaldo was handed the number 7 jersey. With the 7 at his back, Cristiano turned into a different beast. From the very first game of the season, he was a man on a mission. He went on an insane run from the start of the season, scoring 11 goals and providing 6 assists in the first 10 La Liga games, which set the pace for the entire season. That season, he became the first man to score 40 goals in a single La Liga campaign, winning the Pichichi for the top scorer in La Liga. He also won the European Golden Shoe, becoming the first player to win the award in 2 different leagues. On top of all that, Ronaldo helped Madrid reach the semi-finals of the Champions League for the first time in 8 years. And with the winning goal in the final, he helped them win the Copa del Rey for the first time in 18 years. He really was the difference maker. That goal in the Copa del Rey signaled the start of a new era. See, if Barcelona had won that final, they would have completed 2 European trebles in 3 years. But Ronaldo stopped that from happening. It was also Real Madrid's first trophy in 3 years, and it opened the floodgates. The following season, he helped Real Madrid win the league title for the first time in 4 years, finishing with a record 100 points in the league. That season, Ronaldo became the first player to score against all 19 opponents in a La Liga season, and the fastest player to score 100 league goals for Real Madrid. He finished with 46 goals that season, but missed out on the Pichichi and European Golden Shoe because Messi scored 50. He also finished as runner-up to Messi at the Ballon d'Or that year, making it 4 straight years where Messi came out as winner of the award. That probably forced Ronaldo to lock in and make a comeback against his eternal rival. So he went into the 2012-13 season with a different type of hunger. He finished that season with 55 goals and 13 assists in all competitions and won the Ballon d'Or, the second of his career. But he still wasn't satisfied. He wanted to help Real Madrid win the Champions League after so many years, so guess what he did? The 2013-14 season was special for so many reasons. First of all, Ronaldo extended his contract with the club at the beginning of the season with a new salary that made him the highest paid footballer on the planet at the time. The club then signed Gareth Bale, and along with Benzema, they formed the famed BBC trio, which would go on to terrorize the whole of Europe. Ronaldo's game time in the league dropped this season because he was focused on the Champions League, and that paid off massively. He scored 17 goals, setting a record for most goals in a single Champions League campaign. Those goals, one coming in the final, helped Real Madrid win their first Champions League in 12 years. That goal made Ronaldo the first player to score in two different European Cup finals for two different winning teams. That season, CR7 finished as the top scorer in the competition for the third time and was named UEFA Best Player in Europe once again. He also helped Real Madrid win the Copa del Rey. He did not win La Liga that season, but he still managed to win the Pichichi and the European Golden Shoe. Despite failing to make it out of the group stages at the World Cup that summer, his outstanding performances for Real Madrid that season were enough to win him the Ballon d'Or, making him just the fourth player ever to win the award 3 times, joining greats like Johan Cruyff, Michel Platini, and of course Lionel Messi. But he wasn't done. The following season did not bring much club success as Real Madrid saw Barcelona win another European treble. Still, Ronaldo finished with 48 goals in La Liga and 10 in the Champions League, making him the top scorer in both competitions that season. He also won the European Golden Shoe for a record 4th time. That season, he became the fastest player to score 200 La Liga goals and reached the 300-goal milestone for Real Madrid. Obviously, having won the treble, Messi won the Ballon d'Or, with Ronaldo finishing as runner-up. However, as had become the theme of his career, whenever CR7 had anything that even resembled a lousy season, it only motivated him to go on to conquer all. And that was precisely what he did the following season. Between the 2015-16 season and the 2017-18 season, Cristiano Ronaldo and Real Madrid were totally unstoppable. In the 2015-16 season, he became Real Madrid's all-time top scorer, the Champions League all-time top scorer, the second all-time top scorer in La Liga history, became the first player to ever hit double figures for goals in the group stage of the Champions League, and he also hit the milestone of 500 career goals. He wrapped up the season by helping Madrid win a record-extending 11th Champions League title, and he finished as the tournament's top scorer. But that summer got even better because he led Portugal to success at Euro 2016, scoring 3 goals and providing 3 assists in the tournament. That was the first ever major trophy the Portugal national team had ever won, so it established Ronaldo as the greatest player in the country's history. He was injured early in the final, which forced him to direct things from the touchline for the most part of the game, and that turned out to be a very memorable image. After leading Real Madrid to Champions League success and Portugal to Euro success, Cristiano Ronaldo was named UEFA Best Player in Europe for a 2nd time, and he won the Ballon d'Or for the 4th time. By 2012, Messi had won 4 of these, while Ronaldo had won just 1. But in 2016, he closed that gap to just 1. He had 4 Ballon d'Or awards, while Messi had 5. He wanted to equal Messi, and he did it the following season. He led Real Madrid to another Champions League success, making them the first team in the modern era to successfully defend the title. This season, he also became the first player to reach 100 Champions League goals, the first player to score in 3 finals in the modern era, and he finished as the competition's top scorer for the 5th season in a row. He also led Real Madrid to La Liga success, which was their first league title in 5 years. For all he did, Ronaldo won the 2017 Ballon d'Or, equaling Lionel Messi as the only players to ever win the award 5 times. The 2017-18 season would prove to be his last at Real Madrid, and he made sure to leave with a bang. This season, he became the first man to score in each of the 6 Champions League group games, became the fastest player to reach 300 La Liga goals, and he reached the milestone of 50 career hat-tricks. It was also this season that he scored one of the greatest goals in Champions League history, the bicycle kick against Juventus in the quarterfinal. The goal was so good that even the opposition fans stood up and applauded. He ultimately helped Real Madrid win the Champions League again, making them the first team to win 3 successive Champions League titles in the modern era. Ronaldo himself finished as the competition's top scorer for the 6th season in a row and for the 7th time overall. But his Real Madrid story was over. The 2018 Champions League final against Liverpool proved to be his last game as a Real Madrid player. That summer, he led Portugal to the World Cup, scoring a memorable hat-trick in Portugal's opening game of the tournament against Spain. They would, however, get knocked out in the round of 16 by Uruguay. After the World Cup, Ronaldo's transfer to Juventus was completed, after the Italians agreed to a €100 million transfer fee. Now, everyone expected Ronaldo to win his 6th Ballon d'Or in 2018 after having helped Madrid win the Champions League as the top scorer. But his World Cup performances didn't help his case, so the award went to Luka Modric. Anyway, at Juventus, CR7 continued to break records. He became the player with the most wins in Champions League history, the most goals in a single season in Juventus' history, the highest scoring Portuguese in Serie A history, and the first player to reach 50 goals in the Premier League, Serie A, and La Liga. He also won the first ever Serie A MVP award, became the first player in history to win every domestic trophy in England, Spain, and Italy, and the first player to win the Golden Boot in each of those 3 countries. During this period, he also led Portugal to victory at the inaugural UEFA Nations League, the 2nd trophy in the history of the Portugal national team. After 3 successful years in Italy, Ronaldo made a fairy tale return to Manchester United. That move broke the internet, and his shirt sales broke the record for sales in the first 24 hours after a transfer. But the fairy tale sadly did not live up to expectations. Despite that, he still managed to break records, including becoming the all-time top scorer in the history of professional football. He also reached different milestones like 50 club hat-tricks and 100 Premier League goals. In his first season, Cristiano Ronaldo finished as the 3rd top scorer in the Premier League and was named in the Premier League Team of the Year. But despite all his efforts, Man United failed to win a single trophy, marking CR7's first trophyless year since 2010. Ahead of the 2022-23 season, Erik ten Hag was hired as the new Man United boss, which signaled the beginning of the end for Ronaldo at United. It didn't take long for the pair to fall out, after ten Hag relegated Ronaldo to the bench and the player walked out on the team during the game against Spurs. This felt insulting, because Ronaldo had tried to leave in the summer, but ten Hag insisted that the player was part of his plans, only to end up not using him. Halfway into the season, Ronaldo gave an interview with Piers Morgan, where he had a lot to say about Man United, the coach, the state of the club, the facilities, the owners, and a lot more. As a result of that, his contract with United was terminated, which meant he went to the 2022 World Cup as a free agent. There in Qatar, he became the first man to ever score in 5 successive World Cup tournaments. After the World Cup, Cristiano Ronaldo made a groundbreaking move to Al Nassr in January 2023, where he was offered the highest salary in football history. This opened the door for many players to move from European clubs to clubs in Saudi Arabia. Since his move to Saudi, Ronaldo has reached different milestones, including becoming the first player to win 800 games in professional football, the player with the most appearances in the history of professional football, the most international wins ever, and the first player to score 900 career goals. In fact, he has said that he already has his eyes on 1,000 goals. This 40-year-old GOAT has conquered the world of football, and he has already started taking on side quests, such as opening a YouTube channel. But he is still not done with football. No, not yet. He already has his eyes on the 2026 World Cup. And wouldn't it be perfect if he could end the story with the World Cup? That would be the cherry on this very beautiful cake. But whether it happens or not, it does not change what we already know. Cristiano Ronaldo is the face of football and is still one of the sport's biggest ever exports. He has scored a truckload of goals, won a host of trophies, broken all sorts of records, and absolutely dominated the game for 2 decades. This combination of quality, entertainment, success, and longevity has established CR7 as one of football's biggest legends and arguably the greatest player to have ever kicked a ball.
Oh, wow!